It is your friendly neighborhood Matt, and today I am here to chat about the history of the R7 Droid. Oh my gosh, and look how cool this is. Whoever put these together, isn't that fun? So the R7 Astromech Droid was created actually 29 years ago officially, and it was first mentioned in the Dark Empire comic book series, if I'm not mistaken. And even though that series came out in 92, I want to say the first book that mentioned them, it might have been 93, probably 93 that came out. But there wasn't, you didn't know exactly what they looked like. You kind of probably assumed they looked just like R2-D2. So there wasn't any visual nod to what they looked like or any official information. And it wasn't until 1995 that a book by West End Games came out, and there was an article written by Pablo Hidalgo, and the illustrations were by yours truly, and I had the pleasure of illustrating what the R7 Droid looks like, and the R7 Astromech Droid. So the biggest difference you can see is the lens. The main camera lens is, instead of a circle, it's a triangle. And we thought that would be fun, but also you can see there are a lot of, here's one based off of the R2KT, which is awesome. But you'll notice there's some really cool angular panels going on here. Other than that, yeah, it looks a lot like an R2 droid, but little did we know when kind of putting all of this together way back in the day that there would be action figures, and you would see this in all kinds of really cool Star Wars media. Here is one. This was an action figure released, I think, at the Disney parks. And I think this was for Halloween, and the head even glows in the dark, which is super cool. This might have been the Build-A-Droid. So I think the first version of the R7 robot was a Build-A-Droid, where different pieces you would put together. If you bought all of the action figures, you'd get like the head from one, the body from something else, and another figure would have the legs. This one here is one of the Hasbro figures. This one is hard to find, super expensive on eBay. These go at least for 150 bucks now. I've seen people sell them for 250 bucks, and this one is inspired by Ahsoka Tano. You can tell by the colors. So this is just random images I found online. Even the pin for this one, the enamel pin that you can get at Disney parks, the head glows in the dark. I'm going to show you the real thing. And the legs swivel. Super rad. I'm going to show you the real thing soon. There's another close look at the Ahsoka Tano inspired R7 Droid. It's a beaut, right? So I want to share a little bit about how this came to be. And there's the packaging. So we're going to move over into my art studio here. We're going to jam through my creative playground down here. So it's a mess down here. Don't mind the mess, because I'm organizing artwork for something I don't think I can talk about just yet. So more on that soon, but in particular, I wanted to chat today about this. This is the first book, and this came out in 1995. This is the Star Wars Adventure Journal #7, and this was the book that had your first look at what the R series droids are and what they look like specifically, and I had the pleasure of illustrating the article. Pablo Hidalgo, who now is one of the, he may even be the head of Lucasfilm's story group. I apologize, I don't know what his current title is, but he has moved up through the ranks and is just an awesome force to be reckoned with. in keeping the Star Wars universe together. And this is, I don't think this was his first article that he wrote for the journal, but it was one of them very early in his career as well. So I wanted to share with you some of the artwork I did. This right here is the P1, and you actually see one of those in front of the Jawa sandcrawler that Luke and Uncle Owen, when they get to R2-D2 and C-3PO. This right here is the P1. And I think really what this was just inspired by an early version that they made based on Ralph McQuarrie's art. This right here on the left is actually the R3. I know it looks like an R2, but it's actually an R3 with the clear dome. I have artwork for R2, but I don't have it here for some reason. There's an R4 on the right. And this here, this is actually not part of the R series droids on the left here. This was for another book. It was the Star Wars role-playing game by West End Games, and I must have been working on this at the same time, but this was like a book on some of their technology. Of course, on the right, you probably recognize R5. R5D4 was also at the Jawa Sandcrawler, and Luke and Uncle Owen almost purchased one of those until it had a bad motivator. And on the left here, there is an R6. And then, of course, right there is my illustration for the R7. That was the first actual published drawing of an R7 droid. And actually here I have, this was actually the pencil sketch. It's actually a Xerox of the pencil sketch. Underneath, I had to submit this to West End Games and Lucasfilm to get approved, and had a blast doing this. Now, I should mention a huge shout out goes to Pablo Hidalgo, because he wrote the article and we had an opportunity to design what the R7 looked like, because no one had seen it. It had been mentioned in the Dark Empire comics, but there wasn't really a close look at what they looked like. And Pablo, who also is an artist in his own right, and he was actually illustrating some of the cartoons for these Star Wars books at the time, but he was also writing articles, and he actually had a quick, like, 2D drawing of what he thought the R7 droid could look like. And I wasn't glued to that, but I thought it looked great, and so I decided to follow that pretty closely. So a lot of the credit really does go to Pablo, even though I got to kind of draw a more three-dimensional version of this R7 and kind of put the final bells and whistles on it, making it look all snazzy like that. And boy, little did we know that in the future we would have this. Look at this. Here is my collection of all things R7. And I don't have everything, but here you can see all of the figures and variations of R7 figures. And I actually have two cards here. Here is R7 Astromech. This is one of those TCG games. I don't know if this is a droid one or if this is just a droid card, but I kind of collect everything now that's R7. Obviously, I feel kind of a connection to it. So there's that R7 Astromech card, and then here is R7 T1. Pretty cool. And I just wanted to share some of these really cool R7 droids. So here is the one. This is the one that's the most expensive and the hardest to find. They must have made a limited number of these because, man, they are expensive on eBay. And so this is the R7 TNO, inspired by Ahsoka Tano. What else? Now, sometimes at the Star Wars parks, the Disney parks, you can kind of build a droid, or you can get your own accessories. So you can see one here has an actual Star Wars hat. Pretty cool. This one here has the Mickey ears. And then this one here has kind of the new school Mickey ears. And just awesome. So this one here is pretty rad because you can see it's got the jets on the sides. It's not really focusing, but you can see, there we go. You can kind of see the jets on either side. And this one back here has the jets as well. And I just love, I don't even know what my favorite is. They all are so unique. Look at this one back here with just like the single or the double stripe going back. How unique is that? Really wild. This one here, Disney released a collection, kind of a pride collection of R series robots. And the blue one, they chose to make an R7 droid. And what people have been doing is buying these, because each one is a different color, and then they reassemble all of the pieces, and then they've been selling them as pride droids where they have all the colors. So they sell versions like this, and I thought this was pretty rad because it's got the head of the R7, and then the body is pieces from some of the other droids, and they had like an R5 and an R2 and an R6 and everything. So pretty cool to see people doing that, showing their pride. Now back here you can see, I believe this was a Halloween one that was released. And you can kind of see the vampire fangs that they put in the middle. It's really cute. And I have one here that I can play with, and I have one here in the packaging. Of course, here's the pin, and the pin is cool because, I don't know if you can tell, but the legs swivel, and super cool, if I can get this back on there, super cool because they do glow in the dark, and I can prove it to you right now. If I come back here and turn off the lights, oh, would you look at this? The pin hasn't been facing the light as much because it's flat and it's kind of angled away from the light. But you can see the figures are definitely glowing pretty good, even though I haven't had the lights on for very long. Anyway, I also have, this was not cheap to do, but because I'm such a diehard collector of the R7, I do have the Ahsoka Tano that I can play with, and I also have one. Look at this. It's not only in the packaging, it's sealed in this giant plastic airtight, it's not airtight, but there is the packaging for the R7 TNO, and it all started in this book right here. Super cool. I'm just super grateful that I've had so many of these fun opportunities over the years, and Star Wars has been so good to me, and I'm just extremely grateful for all of the cool opportunities that I've had over the years. It's my 30th anniversary of creating official Star Wars work, and it has been so fun, and I just wanted to thank you guys so much for supporting me, and it's been a wild ride. Thank you guys so much, and lots of other really cool videos coming soon. Can't wait to share all that's on the horizon. May the Force be with you.